Charmaine, peace and freedom. Yesterday, I mentioned a term that was familiar to some and unfamiliar to others. And so today I'm going to take the time to briefly explain to you what a solitary is. A solitary is a mystic who is exploring things on his or her own that is of interest. Um, it is kind of like the world is your oyster kind of a situation, and you're exploring, you're experimenting, you're studying, and you're doing it on your own terms and on your own timetable. Now, a mystic who is a solitary can be someone who works alone all the time, someone who maybe groups up with other people, gets together with other people in a group, and they may get together in fellowship, do some spiritual work together, but there's no hard fast commitment. Or the solitary can seek out a mentor, which is absolutely the best thing. I remember when I turned 30 and I realized, yeah, I know a lot, and yeah, I'm gifted, but I really need to have somebody who's going to help to guide me the right way so I don't make mistakes. If you don't know, there's a good chance that you could make mistakes. And when you're dealing with spirituality and mysticism, then it's kind of like blowing up something in a lab if you really, really mess up. So having a mentor is a great thing. And you want to have a mentor that is a good fit for you, who respects you, who sees your talents, who helps to grow your talents, and who is always speaking the best to you of yourself, but also sharing realistically what you're dealing with. I remember when I was seeking out personal information regarding the Orishas, and I was so drawn to Yamaja. I went and I got this candle holder. There were two doves on either side. It was a little wooden candelabra. There was dove here, and it held two tapers. So I would light my white tapers every day, and there was a place for you to put a goblet in the center. And that's how I started. Little did I know that that's generally the way that it starts in ATRs, especially in Buddhism, when you're just building a relationship with the divine and with your guardian. And it's not all about the tools. It's not all about having to have this and doing these particular prayers, et cetera, et cetera. It is a truly heartfelt and simplistic way of building your practice and also your relationship with your guardian and your ancestors and with the Most High. Yeah. So I went on later to join this metaphysical church. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because that's actually where I met my mentor. But she still respected me as a solo practitioner. And that's how I operated until I became a licentiate, as it's called, which is an initiate, so that you're becoming a licensed ordained minister. You're a student. So that made it a whole different deal. I wasn't a free spirit anymore. I had to get the discipline to go through the classes, and y'all know that story. I mean, that was quite a lot, but I'm glad that I did. And I have to say that when I stepped into the next leg of my journey, I sorely missed being a solo practitioner. Now, listen, here's the thing. The church was full of ministers who had gone through the seminary but stayed in the church. And it was very egalitarian because everyone had a chance to get up and share their message in whatever way that was, and whatever their tradition was. And it was actually pretty obligatory. If you graduated from there and if you hung around there and didn't go out and start your own thing, then you needed to take at least 2 Sundays to get up and share a message. But again, the free-spirited aspect was respected because of the fact that the tone of each sermon, depending on who was bringing it, was different. We had someone who loved singing show tunes, and so he would open up singing a show tune or two and then build his message around the songs that he sang. So honoring the free spirit is a wonderful thing, and being a forever free spirit, I can attest to that. But I can also say that the discipline that comes from learning the tenets and I'm not saying tenant, I'm saying tenets, like the rules, the regulations of a tradition, and learning to live by them so that you are living the culture of the tradition that you're learning. This is where it's important, and where not being a solo practitioner is okay. So if you're around other people who are mirroring to you what is expected in a particular group that you have stepped into, simply because of the fact that this is your practice, then you have the example, okay? But then you also have the option of deciding if it fits you. Is this really me? You know, if this is how these people are, this is part of the expected behavior in this tradition, then maybe it's not a good fit for me. Or, you know, maybe I'm just happy just practicing this in the way that is comfortable for me, that makes sense to me. And also so that I'm not held back by the group, especially if you start learning a lot more on your own because you've been used to studying on your own and exploring on your own. And, you know, you get to the point where you can't have any conversation with the people that you are around, and that you hope to be part of the spiritually and where you hope to be part of the spiritual family. You know, maybe you realize, okay, so I'll take the spiritual system, but I don't want this family. Okay, I don't fit here, and that's okay. It's okay. Maybe it's your thing to draw other people towards you who feel the same way, but who also share the same practice. Or maybe it's enough to just be an eclectic and to just move in the way that makes sense for you and to you. And that's okay as well. Now, can you be a solitary and practice the Kemetic tradition? Yeah, you can. I would recommend highly for people who are interested in priesthood or who are called to priesthood to spend time as a solitary in the faith. So that way you have a basic foundation of what is believed, what is done, and what works for you. And also, so it's in you blood and bone. Yeah, I talked about that yesterday, where people who had a whole different set of ethics felt like after a year and a day that all of a sudden they'd be this transformed person and be able to really live the culture in a way that is consistent with what is expected. And truthfully, it's just, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to share with you about being a solitary. The other term is solo practitioner. So there are pluses and there are minuses, but the choice is up to you. But at least now, you know, I consider myself at this point in my life a solitary who used to be a temple keeper, but who now has a circle. And that's because, not just because of the Kemetic faith, but because, as I'd explained yesterday, because of the fact that I am putting emphasis on the fact that I am a Nanga, focusing on healing the community. And not that that wasn't my focus before, but it's shifted into a whole other direction now. The two go together, but the temple is not going to be the solution. The healing circles and other opportunities in community, that's the solution. And that's what's consistent for my path. That's what makes sense for me. If you have any further questions, then please feel free to reach out, imaku.info. You can text me at 646-228-1185. Please identify yourself. I do not answer numbers that I don't recognize or where a person does not recognize, does not identify him or herself. Okay. That's for my safety. Okay. So much love to you. Maria.